Welcome back to your Pixlr screencasts. We're going to be continuing on with the different tools that we can use on the toolbar menu. We left off last time with the paint bucket, and we said gradient. We didn't get up to this, but I just wanted to start going down now and show more stuff. The gradient tool you're not really going to be using for any kind of thing that you're going to be needing, so we can sort of ignore that for now. The clone stamp tool is going to be very, very useful for lots of different things, and I will show you what I mean by that. We're going to combine the clone stamp tool learning, by the way, with the spot heal tool and the red eye reduction tool, which you're not really going to need to use in most cases, but we're going to do that as well. By the way, just FYI, when I'm moving up a photo like that, I'm actually pressing the space bar and then clicking on the photo so that I can move around it. That's another useful tool to know about. So when you're using the clone stamp tool, you're basically taking from one area of your picture and stamping it over another area, and this is very useful for removing zits or different things like that, which comes in handy, you know, at your age. So basically, the clone stamp tool is going to have a brush size as well. So you sometimes are going to have to decide, I need to lower this brush size to try to get out what you need to get out. So if you notice here, let's say that this is a zit, just for the purposes of trying to do what we need to do. This is a piece of hair that we'll get rid of. We hold down the control key in order to select, you'll see the target changes, in order to select the area that you're going to be, as your source area that you're going to be stamping from. So right next to the affected area is what is most useful for getting rid of things. So we press control here, and then we start slowly painting it over. Now notice how it got a little, you know, it doesn't look so natural. So you have to move next to it this way, or something else like that, in order to just kind of make it natural looking, and you sort of keep playing with it until it works. Now you'll notice that this leaves sort of like a circly thing when you do it, so very often it's not going to be the optimal way of doing things, but also when you zoom out it's very hard to tell the difference sometimes if you didn't know you were working on it. But another thing, that's why another tool that you can use is the patch tool. So let's say that we go back to that to that hair being there, and we try out the patch tool. So that allows you, depending on your brush size and everything again, to just select areas and ask it to guess with its algorithm how to patch it. So it doesn't always get it right, but if you make it small enough in certain cases, or you're in an area that it's not going to matter. So for instance, whatever this is, let's get rid of that. See that? And you can just do that, and what you end up getting is your, when you zoom, sorry, I just zoomed all the way in there, but when you zoom back out, you're not going to necessarily notice the thing you removed, and nobody will be any the wiser. So that's really the very useful tools of clone stamp and spot heal tool. Over here with red eye reduction, obviously that is exactly what you would sort of go to the eye and try to reduce the red eye, but we don't have red eye here, so that's not going to be useful for our purposes. While we're in this screencast, we're going to just go ahead and look at the drawing tool. This is where you can choose different shapes and just draw with them. And the color is based on what you set here. Just like before, you can select colors, or you can choose your own color. But you, whatever it is, you have an outside color and an inside color, so of your drawing tool. So when you click OK here, you're going to see that it draws with those two colors. You know, you've got your opacity. You've also got different settings here that you can do, and your border size. You can decide to fill the shape or not. If you decide not to fill the shape, then it's just going to give you a circle in the color that you chose. So that's something that you can do there. And again, you can choose from line, circle, ellipses, or like a rounded rectangle or a regular rectangle. So that's basically all the things for this screencast that we're going to focus on. Actually, we're going to add two more. Very cool little tools here. The Bloat tool is a fun little thing to play with. It's probably not useful in any cases, but are just fun to see how that works. And the pinch tool does the opposite. So it's kind of fun to work with those. Eyedropper tool is just where you can change the color before you go into a tool and have that be your color going into it, and zoom in on things and then say like, oh, I need exactly this color at this shading, and that's going to be when I go to paint bucket now, fill in that Ohio, and it's going to be that color. So that's a bunch of useful tools there as well. You know, obviously zoom tool we've talked about, and the hand tool, as we mentioned, moves around the photo, but no matter what tool you're on, if you press the space bar, it automatically temporarily converts into a hand tool. Oh man, those eyes are freaky looking. So that is all of the tools, and now I'm seeing that we're only at 5 minutes. So we're just going to go ahead and do these last 6 tools here as well. Right here you have the sharpen and blur tool, which do exactly what they say they're going to do. Notice how the pixels get a little duller as I do blur, and notice how they get a little sharper as I do sharpen. You can mess with the strength and the brush sizes here as with anything else. Over here you also have the smudge tool, which can move pixels over, right? So let's say that's going to be a quick way that you're going to shrink the size of the eyebrow. Again, I'm doing these things very quickly, so it's not going to look very professional looking, but if you zoom out, you'll see that one eyebrow is now thinner, and I did that by smudging the thing. If you do the sponge tool, that's sort of a way where it's almost in a way it's going to be kind of blendy. What the sponge tool does is it sort of smooths things out with a if you like want to desaturate something, it'll sort of smooth it out, and you know, it works on, especially if you go to smaller levels, it's sort of like if you desaturate a wrinkle or something, it'll, you know, but it's really not something you're ever going to use, and I'm not really using it well here, but that's what the sponge tool does. The dodge tool will lighten an area, so you want to make something lighter, you just sort of, it'll lighten up all the pixels, and the burn tool will do the opposite and darken things. So it's sort of, you can make somebody have a black eye kind of quickly there, and you know, now it looks like I have a tiny eye. I zoomed in again. Now I have a tiny black eye over here, and that's sort of a cool use of that. And that's really we have color replace tool, which sort of will try to limit you to the areas that it thinks you're trying to replace. So notice if I go out here, it's not going to replace anything. I'm replacing the colors here with you can do a tolerance level, but notice how it's only having me select certain similar areas. It's not really affecting the black parts, it's just doing the lighter areas. It's an easy way to sort of replace all of a color somewhere. That's that, and I believe that finishes all of the tools for us, and that's your toolbar. And in the last screencast, we're going to just kind of take this photo from the beginning and kind of do random things to it and learn things organically. All right, see you next time.